Is that the world's first $1 trillion company? I mean, Nvidia's coming out with self-driving technology to compete with Tesla. What do you think of that?
Have you ever gotten into one?
You think we're in a bubble?
Oh, I think that's super interesting.
Hey, I'll explain to you very easily what a circular deal is.
Apparently, it's undressing everyone.
That one creeped me out.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It doesn't look right. I don't trust it.
I'm not sure if they would take their advice and actually do it.
I cannot wait for my robot buddy. I think I'm on the record as saying I cannot wait for C3PO.
That will be the day,
All right, so welcome back. We haven't done one of these in a bit, but an AI companion. There's a lot going on in the world. It used to be, I don't know, if you don't know Roberto, you should. What is your title here, Roberto, at Shuro?
I am officially the social media strategist.
Yeah, yeah.
Sure.
And you know a thing or two about off page and living overseas and doing lots of different things. So you bring a really cool perspective. So I thought it'd be fun if maybe you and I just riff today. But where do you want to start, Roberto? I know we got a lot of stories, a lot to catch up, a lot of things changing in the world of MarTech and AI. But did you have a story lately that piqued your interest?
I think the CES would be a great place to start. It was a good big
Yes.
event. A lot of stuff seems to have AI on it nowadays. What do you think about it?
Well, I mean, I thought Nvidia dominated all the storylines around CES. I mean, I guess their chip, which like 4x performance, leads us to. Well, what is their latest revenue forecast, or what? Or they posted 57 billion of revenue. Is that the world's first $1 trillion company? I mean, valuation wise, I mean, Nvidia seems to be sucking up all the air in the hardware space. The other observation around CES, and this pertains to AI, I guess everyone is saying now that 2026 will be the hardware when we start seeing AI come into robots. I don't know if that's going beyond lawnmowers and vacuums, but like, hey, we're actually starting to see, humanoid robots and everything that we do. So what was your take on it?
I was super impressed by the developments in robotics this year. Like a couple of
Yeah.
years ago, they were struggling to have robots walk, and now they're having them dance and do all these gimmicks. So I think that's super interesting. I think I'm excited to see where it leads and how soon we'll have a little robot in our house helping us out.
I cannot wait for my robot buddy. I think I'm on the record as saying I cannot wait for C3PO to be in my house. Did you see videos coming out with self-driving technology to compete with Tesla? What do you think of that?
Yeah, that was the Alpha Mayo chip. That's super cool. I have had a little experience with self-driving cars. I lived in Chandler, Arizona for a while, and I guess it's considered like self-driving capital of the world. They've got big companies, Intel, Waymo operating there and doing all the development and testing. So I thought it's super interesting. They're talking about it being a lot safer in the end, autonomous vehicles. What's your take on that? Have you ever gotten into one?
No, I haven't. I mean, when I see a Waymo, I think in San Francisco, they have the giant. Don't they still have the giant radar on top?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It doesn't look right. I don't trust it. I think when I get on my Uber app, do you want to be on the list for an autonomous vehicle? I'm just not there yet. I have a buddy who has a Cybertruck. He says he can come straight to my house, a 20-minute drive, completely autonomous, driveway to driveway. So I know we're right there. Me personally, I'm not going to be a first mover on self-driving.
Okay, okay. I took a Waymo once and it was fine. It was only for like a mile, but
It's a little weird being by yourself, you and the
I
robot.
did
Does the robot talk to you? I mean, is there AI in? Do you have a companion in the car?
not when I took it, but that'd be interesting. No, it was actually that was kind of like the creepy part because the door just opens and you go in, and then it's like, "Are you ready?" Like press the button when you're ready, and so you press it, and then just the steering wheel starts moving by itself and stuff like that. So, yeah, I don't
How
know.
about the other announcement at CES that was getting a lot of press? The Ava, the 3D AI companion. Speaking of companions, did you have a chance to look at that? We'll put a video, maybe we'll overlay a video of what's going on in the cast here, but that one creeped me out.
Are you? Is it the one in the desk hologram on
It's like
your?
a, I don't know, like a snow globe, and there's
Yeah.
like, anime boyfriend or girlfriend, and the commercials were, "Good morning, handsome. How was your day? Can't wait." I mean, it's like it was a little off-putting. I have to admit. I don't know if that's I mean, I saw a woman in Japan get married to her AI companion. I don't
Oh
know
wow.
where this goes. Now we have holographic AI companions. As a marketer, I do think it leads into what we do here at Sure. What kind of content are we going to put through AI companions? Ads, organic content, things like that. I think that's interesting. I mean, if robots are the new neighbor that we get referrals for business, e-commerce, things like that, are these 3D companions now going to start telling us to check out different products?
Right. Right. I thought it was super interesting. And I mean, ultimately, we already have all these assistants, like we've got Alexa and we've got Siri. So why not kind of like avatarize them, like why not just give them a human personalized look? I thought it was interesting, but yeah, I mean, it's the whole, it's juggling what we feel comfortable with in this new phase of AI. Why are we
Have you
trying
ever
to
played with
humanize?
any of these companions? Or I know Grok has, you know, any of the models, even on Gemini, hey, pretend you're my buddy, tell me what to do things. Have you ever played with any of those?
No, I haven't like the personalities within them. No, not really. Not really.
Well, I did one in Grok, and I had the AI be my business coach, so, helping me on productivity, setting, 20-minute sprints while I'd be heads down focused on work, setting goals, prioritizing. So I tried that out. It was interesting for a day, but it got fairly boring. I guess
Was
I
it quite monotonous or what?
I mean, it was good. I mean, it was basically trying to use my, what memory it had of, previous things I've told it, things I have goals for the company, health goals, things I need to be focusing on, trying to schedule the days out. It made mistakes. That's annoying, but I kind of expected that. But at the end of the day, I just felt a little weird talking to my phone, and like I get it. I know how to prioritize now. It wasn't that interesting to me. Maybe if I'm in a rough patch or I'm just confused, it's nice to bounce ideas. I still have it open when I work, not as a companion by any means, but just to, information retrieval research. That's more interesting to me than having a friend. I'm just not that lonely, I guess, at this point.
I got you. Absolutely. And what about voice? Have you been using like a lot of voice with ChatGPT or Gemini?
Yeah, I've tried all the voice. Um, My biggest, I guess a bright spot for me is you can interrupt it now. Whereas before, haven't
Okay.
seen that on Claude when I was playing with it. They may have updated it since because it's been a couple of months. But as I'm having the conversation, like, no, 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 that's not right, and it'll stop. Oh, sorry. What are you trying to get at? I thought it was a much more fluid conversation. So I've been really impressed with Gemini, Grok. I haven't played with Chat GPTs as much. My kids are more. We should talk about different users for the different models. But I've been pretty impressed with the how fluid the conversation is. I think they've done a really good job, and you can tell they've done a lot of work on the personalities. The other thing I noticed is that Alexa got a update. Have you played with that? I don't know if you have any of those devices, any echoes in your house, but Alexa's got a it freaked my family out when I updated it. I'm like, I don't like her. I don't. She sounds weird.
Really?
She's much more interactive. She's a lot smarter. But like that was an interesting move. I know Amazon's highly involved with Anthropic, but like that was an interesting update for me. But I feel like it's a lot better.
Absolutely. It seems like all these tech billionaires want a little piece of the pie, right?
Yeah,
I want to get
yeah,
in there when they go on their hands dirty.
yeah. Any other stories that are catching your eye?
Yeah. What about I know Grok is going under some pressure in the UK. There's a lot of lawsuits.
Everywhere.
I mean, apparently it's undressing everyone. I read an article that was talking about like just the disproportionate amount of deep fakes and sexually related content it was creating over the other platforms. Like it was just way, way, way more common in Grok. What's your take on that?
Um, well, I mean, the child stuff is a huge deal. I think they gotta protect children. They need to protect, everybody. I mean, image, name, rights, likeness, all of that's a huge deal. I think stepping back and why Elon is resistant to it, I think if you look at I enjoy the conversation around each of these founders, or CEOs, owners. I mean, you got Sam Altman, Dario Amodei. Um, I guess I'll call him a founder, even though he's in Google. Frost Hasabi, and then Elon, and like they all have what would you call like sociological, even political different bends to them. And Elon, after the whole open AI, after it went from open to closed, from nonprofit to maximize profit.
Super
He
prof.
started XAI as the ultimate truth seeking AI. And so what does that mean? Why is he allowing these images? I'm not exactly sure, but he definitely has a more libertarian view to himself socially. So maybe he's letting that ride a bit and seeing because in his mind, he's like, you're never going to stop it. It's
Right.
just it's unstoppable. And I think I've even heard rumblings. I saw an article, even Sam Altman was talking about, hey, maybe there'll be an adult chat GPT that you can opt into and subscribe to. That's got to be a response to Grok and what the market's doing. It's a little gross. It's icky. Um, but if I compared the ultimate truth seeking mandate at XAI versus at Anthropic, where Dario Amodei is on, his mandate is race to the top, being the most responsible AI and being the most in bed with government. I guess, we could talk about,
Right.
Trump's recent mandates as well, but it's very different. Whereas Dario has a constitution that's on top of his AI. And so it won't go against the constitution and it wants to be the most responsible. But he's on the record. Who is his co-founder? He was a journalist and he's a co-founder. Jack Clark, sorry. He's a British guy, really smart. Um, but as a strategy at Anthropic, they want to be with the government and they want the government to approve every release of all LLMs. I think if you look at guys like David Sachs, who's now the crypto and AI czar of the Trump administration, he's highly against that because he says it's just going to disrupt what is driving the economy right now. So when you see Trump's mandates, like, hey, states can't dictate what AI models can and can't do. Yes, we have to protect children. Yes, we have to protect identity and content rights, but only to a certain extent. They can't go past a national mandate to protect the American economy and what is actually driving. California, I mean, is basically broke without all these IPOs that they've been doing. So, it's kind of interesting they have this bend to them. So, I don't know. How do you relate to yeah, I didn't really answer the question like, "Hey, is Elon a bad person, for doing this?" But I do think there is a philosophical battle that's happening right now with the AIs. I mean, we saw it in social media. I can expound on that, but, like, what's your take?
Yeah, I definitely think some regulation is needed, is has to happen, like these, and it's interesting because ultimately these tools aren't the problem, right? It's humans, and they're uncovering these problems, of course, and the solution falls in us, not in the platforms, that's for sure. But the platforms should have guardrails, especially for
100%.
kids, especially for, the sensible people that are, like we've had cases of the LLMs recommending suicide, so like, um, it's definitely something that needs to be regulated. Now, that we regulate it at the level that Europeans do, well, that's different, like I think they've always been very, very hardcore on their regulations.
Mhm. Seem to sue Google every month.
Right, right, right. And I did hear Greg Mueller, talk a little bit about that and just like how it does stop innovation, like all this regulation is just hindering it. And I think that's what most of the CEOs are really battling, like, hey, like we can't have this hyper regulated space if we want development.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's really a good point in terms of the entrepreneurship. I think AI is amazing innovation. We've talked about this ad nauseum on the podcast, but AI by itself is not a good entrepreneur. Humans by themselves are not good entrepreneurs. I mean, they're less effective now with everything being so competitive, everything going from analog to digital. But together, I mean, we're seeing really amazing solutions. I think it's going to put a lot of apps, particularly, out of business. I mean, if I'm looking at our phone, we talked about that before, but the phone's just going to be an AI enhanced device with really no apps on it. That's fascinating to me as well. So, I think it is going to drive a lot of well, it's going to drive. There's going to be some pain points, or yes, there's going to be continued unemployment. There's going to be a shift in the workforce, but here at Shiro, we think every day about like, hey, how do we work with the tide rather than going against it?
Right. It's something that's happening now. You can't stop. That's exactly what like a lot of these CEOs are saying. Like, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
this is not going anywhere. Like, we cannot stop it. So let's play with it.
Do you ever think about like just the ideological shifts between the different models? I think Anthropic versus XAI, how different they are politically. If ChatGPT is the everyone, it's got the most adoption. It seems to work the best, but you know, even then, it's very different than Gemini. It seems it's like we have this in social media where if you were an anti-vaxxer, you start getting flat Earth, content as a part. Hey,
Right.
nothing against those people. Hey, so for our listeners that are flat earthers, fine.
Right.
But I'm sure you're getting more and more wild conspiracy theories served to you as a result of the algorithm, and it started to make this bifurcation of people moving apart into their different silos in their own echo chambers. I'm wondering if we're going to start seeing the same thing with the models. Some that are more ideological to the left versus some that are more to the right. Are they going to start moving that way as well? That people self-select into their favorite model. I mean, most people I know are on ChatGPT. Absolutely. In our line of work, we're very focused on Gemini because we still think Google probably understands search and content, and that's probably going to win out. And they own the browser and the browser experience. But if I talk to all my technology buddies, they're full-on Claude users. So philosophically, where do we start lining up and where do we start making decisions? So I know we're not really talking about marketing, but I have to market to each of these people on the platform that they choose. We look at all the models in terms of where referrals and where our content services.
Right. Absolutely, yeah, and I'm not sure where they lie. I do know that Anthropic is a lot more aligned with the government. Like you said, you mentioned they want to kind of cuddle right next to it and be the go to for the U.S. government. I do know that Anthropic has a bunch of people that left Chat GPT or OpenAI, right? So like,
And left the Biden administration, to be honest. I mean, I haven't gone name by name and who is who. But I mean, there's a general on the board of OpenAI. I mean, there's so
okay,
everyone's trying to get in bed. I mean, I mean, Grok is part of Doge. I mean, that is
right,
so like
right.
everybody's in bed with the government. But yeah, you can definitely see Dario and Jack Clark leading the call for more legislation and having look at our model. We're the most responsible.
Right, right.
Which I would do too, maybe if I were them. I would love to have pole position with the US government.
Right. Well, and you have to have that competitive edge, like amongst these monsters, you need something that sets you apart and like that gives you and authorizes you to be there.
Do you think we're in a bubble?
I, it's, it's hard to say, but I think so. I mean, with these valuations that these companies are having, it's a lot of money. I think it was this week that XAI raised 20 billion.
And they did it. They oversubscribed. I think they were only going for 15 billion, but he raised it in a heartbeat.
Yeah,
In a
yeah.
heartbeat.
Well, it's like, and it's $5 billion, right? That's a lot of money.
You not have that laying around in your couch? I mean, you're not a part of these deals?
Well, and
No,
what was it? Anthropic
it's
was valued for 350 billion.
you're kidding. That's yeah. Well, I mean, I guess that would be small then, I guess, compared to some what I don't even know what OpenAI is. That's amazing. And just the amount of investment that's going in there. The only thing we should put it in the show notes, but Bill Gurley was on Tim Ferriss's podcast, and they talked specifically about the bubble, and he made a really important distinction. He talked about two things. Are we in a bubble? He says, yeah, there are concerning accounting things that are happening. The circular deals. I mean, Dario Amodei is, shown on the podcast as saying, "Hey, I'll explain to you very easily what a circular deal is. We didn't have enough money to do something, so Amazon just gave it to us so that we could spend more money on Amazon services and servers." So it was like, that's a circular deal, and there's a lot of that happening. So yeah, that's funny accounting. But the point that Bill made, and he called out that Jeff Bezos made the same comment, is that there are financial bubbles and there's industrial bubbles.
Okay.
And this is much more of an industrial bubble where you have speculators coming into a very important technology. Much more, much like we had with, the advent of the internet, crypto, even the industrial revolution with steam engines. Yeah, we overinvest in these things, but they have tremendous use, and they're gonna, multiply, you know, exponentially the economy because there's so much use. Whereas like a financial bubble, like in the housing market, like, hey, we just overinvested with these financial vehicles. This is not that bubble. This one is just over speculated. Maybe there's some weird accounting, bad things going on, but ultimately, you know, we're all in on AI, whether it's how it's going to work to be a part of that economy. So yeah, I don't know. Did you have a view on
Okay.
that?
No, I wanted to get your take on what you think that's where you think it's heading in that sense, because do you think I know this big CEOs of these LLM companies are pushing for enterprise adoption. So do you think that's gonna happen in 2026, like a massive enterprise adoption of these tools?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I think every CMO we talk to, and maybe we're not getting into the operations, but every CMO we talk to, they're getting mandates from their boards to have AI in everything. There are still a lot of data privacy, taking a copy of the LLM and putting it just their data so it can't get, out of the box. But they can't control all the individual users. Let's say like our client ABM. I mean, I don't know how many employees they have, something like 50, 20,000 or something ridiculous, but like they all have their own individual LLM accounts that they're using and assisting their work. Um, how do you shut that down? How do you control that? How do you use all the data that you have having an LLM? I think we'll see massive adoption through the enterprise. Um, yeah, I think it's it's definitely coming. I mean, yeah, where are we in the cycle? I think we're seeing more enterprise adoption. I think if last year was exhausting. I don't know if you, if you felt that. Like every feature that came out, all the new video releases. So VO is old news, right? Like, VO was like amazing to me from Gemini in terms of like I think you even made some videos on it. Like, wow, that's amazing. Now no one cares. No one cares. If I put like on my LinkedIn page that's some VO video, no one cares. No one even looks at it. But like that was every 2 weeks there was a new maybe it was what we call like individual consumer release, how we can do video, how we can make content, how we can write. I just don't think people even care anymore. And so now the upticks are more towards AGI, you know, general intelligence of these, making these models bigger, stronger, faster. But like me as a consumer, I can't tell the difference really between, going from a 2.0 to a 3.0 in some of these models. Yes, it's great. Maybe the personality's better. Maybe the answers are hallucinates less. I mean, those are all great. But maybe that's what's leading to a little bit more enterprise adoption because maybe we got through the experimental. We're going from early adopters to the later adopters. So I think 2026 maybe just like you said, more enterprise adoption.
That's exciting. I'm excited. I'm excited to see where it all where it all goes. I think it's going to be an exciting year in that turn, in that sense. Like seeing, because these developments in AI are just becoming so exponential. Like it's just one week after the other. The developments are crazy. I
But
I
you as
was
a user, do you see it? I know you do a lot of off-page work, a lot of writing. Do you see the writing getting better for you? I mean, as a copywriter?
Um, Automatically, no. But when it comes to content creation, there are a lot of like now, you can create your own GPTs and you can create your own Gemini gems and stuff like that. And that becomes super, super helpful. If you take the extra time and do the extra steps, I think you can really see the power of writing in these models a
Yeah,
lot more.
2026
Like,
could be the year of agentic, right? Where we actually build these personas. We do that for our ICP. We build our ICP into an agent. Like, what does this ICP think about this, and what would they do? And like, let's take this data set, and how would you look at it? Those are amazing. I don't think we've gone so far as to automate tasks after that. I know a lot of people are. Um, yeah, that agentic. But it seems like the big move also in enterprise adoption in 2026 will be more hardware. Seeing my toaster now have AI, and seeing my my kitchen now fully automated, more Alexa doing more in the home. I guarantee, I don't know what Sam is doing on the hardware side right now. That's kind of been hush hush. Who's the guy he collaborated with? I don't know, but they're coming out with some amazing device. I don't know whether it's glasses again or a pen or better phones, but like they do want to put more of these devices everywhere and automate more tasks for us.
absolutely. Absolutely. Jensen Huang was showing one of his chips, and I was just mind blown because it said it had 128 billion transistors. So I remember, well, I've seen photos of the 70s where these calculators were showing off and saying, hey, we've got 3 transistors, in our calculator. So now we moved on to 128 billion transistors in a something this size is just
That you
mind
could
blowing.
wear.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That you could wear. Yeah, no, that's pretty fascinating to me. I mean, in terms of, you know, what hardware we're gonna start seeing walking around, better drone technology. As a marketer, as somebody who, um, yeah, is very fun to watch and be a part. Like, hey, where can I put messaging now? What can I be so, or like, if I have a robot buddy and I want to start talking about buying decisions, and instead of going to my computer, or he gives me some kind of interface, um, that will be fun to watch, because like I do think the interface isn't quite there yet. I do love the chat, but manipulating the data quite within it, it doesn't. So if like I love my Notion, but like if Notion has its own AI in there, but maybe that's not the AI I interact with constantly for other stuff. And so
Right.
what is that going to be? I want a browser that coordinates all that. I haven't loved the stuff that Perplexity puts out. Chrome keeps getting better, but Chrome has to be very, very careful not to ruin this experience. The other thing I'm looking forward to, I don't know if you've seen what DeepSeek is doing, but like they came out with better software models. And so like if the race to like, because the hardware, the server farms, the chips, Nvidia, like all of this stuff, like China can't get access to all that. Maybe they can now with the new Trump deal, but they can't get access. So they keep making their software and their models more powerful. And so what they did, I forget what they called it. What was it like? It's like a multi-shaft elevator system. So think about
Right.
like a sci-fi movies, like all these elevators going around instead of just one linear elevator going in with information. They've been able to figure out, different pipelines of all kinds of information without corrupting the model itself. So, they put a paper. I mean, they're basically open, and they put a paper out about it. It seems like people look at DeepSeek like, well, that's interesting. So I think we'll see more. I think we'll see better models, more efficient models without using so much, power, because that's a big problem. How much power these take, and how much,
Right.
nobody, it's like one of those NIMBY things. Nobody wants a server farm in their backyard. You came from Arizona, and they're building server farms everywhere there, right? They got lots of land. Probably too hot, but um, uh, that's another thing that we'll see. I think we'll see very powerful software, better modeling.
Absolutely. I've seen, I think it was Jensen Huang in the CES too. They were talking about having chips that consumed or, way less water for cooling. And like, I thought that's needed. That's important.
Yeah, before we
Good
start
development.
building these in the North Pole. I
Now,
mean, like
I
Greenland, I mean, that's kind of an interesting case study. It's cold, and then they also have thermal power.
yeah.
Um, that's a I mean, that's a nature preserve. It's a pristine, wildlife. I'm sure we don't want to like ruin all that, but I don't know. I mean, are we going to see Greenland? Maybe that's why Trump's so interested in annexing it.
Maybe, maybe that's why he wants a little piece of it.
Oh, that's scary. That's very scary. But the power problems are real. The power problems are
Yeah,
real. So
for sure, for sure. What do you think about these? I saw an article today. No, it was yesterday about these trading bots making a lot of money for people.
I didn't see
Are
that
you
story.
in?
Can you unpack it for me? I mean, I know it was a Michael Lewis book about the automated traders. That I know this has been something like that is a big deal. I don't know if you ever read the book. Probably was like Flyboys or something like that. But like they started building their trading desks closer and closer to the exchange with better and better pipelines, so they can make the trades faster. Um, I This seems like a natural evolution of automated trading.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, these guys, it's a small Italian team apparently built this AI trading system, and basically they claim it outperforms human experts. I guess it's achieving record gains, and it's quite interesting. I dug into the article a little bit, and they talk about, well, you can program it to be have certain aggressive, be aggressive or not, how much risk you want to put into it and stuff like that. And I guess when you choose a conservative side, it's basically it stays very much within the range. It doesn't make this crazy amount of money. But once you make it a little, well, once you put it aggressive, it started leaps. Now, something I'm just kind of like, like, okay, so if these guys really nailed it and really created this thing that is going to make people found tons of money, like, why would you put it out there? Like, or, I don't know, like,
They want to
would
get
you
you on the
really share it with
platform.
everybody?
Yeah, it's like what are the guys making the most money in a gold rush? The people selling pans and pickaxes. I mean, like, hey, come buy our AI platform, make lots of money. Yeah, maybe that's what the book is called. Flash Boys by Michael Lewis.
Flash
But like,
boys.
if I remember correctly, in the book was they would come up with these algorithms, these rules, and to do the auto trade, but basically that trade, that alpha, what they called it, the above market return that they were able to get was short lived because all the other automated traders would copy the algorithm, and then the alpha comes back to the mean.
Okay.
Um, if we're all using the same I mean, who's got the better robot? Who's got the better trained agent that's able to execute these trades? I don't think you could keep that a secret. I like to. Hey, can you get Ray Dalio on the podcast? Maybe we get him to tell us what
Okay,
he
cool.
always seems to know where these things are going. But like, I'm not a trader. I'm not in the finance world. We have lots of
Yeah.
financial clients, but you know, that one that one seems short-lived to me. Yeah, because everyone should have the same access to the trading. If, Warren Buffett traded on fundamentals now. He's retired, moved on, but this does not seem like a Warren Buffett way
Right.
to
I
actually
I I
trade
wonder
stocks.
if you would approve.
I don't know. You never bought crypto. I still buy Bitcoin every
Okay.
week, but I don't, go definitely against his advice.
Okay. And what about Google? I know they made a big breakthrough here with they're talking about discoverability and recommendations. Do you get a chance to read about that?
Yeah, a little bit. One, the last Gemini was spectacular, and then so much so that Sam Altman, he put out a red alert across the company.
Yeah. Yeah,
He's
yeah.
afraid.
And he put out ChatGPT, like the next version, like right after that. He was definitely
Was it a little
scared.
too soon? Yeah, I mean, I don't.
Well, and I've seen some graphs showing Gemini gaining a lot more popularity and
Yeah.
taking some of the
Well, what was
market
the
share
article about the
from.
intent? I mean, that Well, what was the article about intent? I mean, it seems like that is a no-brainer for the biggest search engine in the world, um, to get better at. Is better at reading intent now?
Exactly. It's starting to. I'm not really sure of the technicalities of it, but they figured out a way. to evaluate what you want to see with more precision, or like they fine tuned it, and now supposedly it's going to make better recommendations. And this
Oh,
is for all platforms, just like Netflix, and for Amazon, when shopping, and obviously Google while searching, right?
yeah. I mean, it's exciting to us in the search world and the content world that my content is actually now getting cited and quoted for the right intent. I mean, that is the most frustrating thing when we go up against. So, like, we love to be like one of our keywords that we love is enterprise SEO, but we come up against Hrefs and SEMrush, which are not enterprise SEO. They're huge tools. And so like we're always getting lumped in the wrong basket for tools. And like, hey, now like, no, I don't want a tool. Like this is my use case. I'm a big company. I want to lead content authority. What are the agencies I should be talking to? Like we want SureOak to be a part of that conversation, not SEMrush. I don't think even SEMrush would even care to be in that conversation, right?
Right.
So
Right. And I think it
they don't
ties
even
down
need
to
any
what
help.
you
We're
were
getting
talking about.
plenty.
Sorry.
They don't even need our help, right? They don't need to take my search traffic. They should be
Right.
coming to
Right.
us.
Right. And it does fall on the platform, right? Like you're not delivering an answer that the user really wants or really expects. You're giving me this huge platform, which is a tool, and I was looking for a company that offers a service.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
so
And
I
as
think
a user, as a buyer, I mean, that's the most frustrating thing to be spending 20 minutes, but you can't get the actual solution or the final punchline that you're trying to get to. And then as our clients, they spend a lot of time on their content, showcasing their authority, going through Eat. Um, if the search engine or the LLM is misreading intent or recommending you know, a hardware solution for a software solution. I mean, that's very frustrating. So this is, I mean, I love it. I love it. And I would never bet against Google or Gemini being able to figure this out. I mean, have you seen Demis Sasabi, on any of his podcasts? Did you see the Lex Friedman where he was on that one?
yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I would not bet against him. I mean, grandmaster chess champion,
Yeah.
under the age of 10. I mean, smart guy has been leading, was bought by Google when he was leading DeepMind. I mean, this is a smart individual and he's basically accumulated an all-star team. So I've really enjoyed using Gemini, as, I never really was on the open AI bandwagon. But that's probably our go-to, for the most part here. I do like Grok. I'd have to admit, maybe everyone now turns off the podcast if they hear me, support Elon, but it's a fun AI. It's a very fun AI, and it's loose. It's catty. It's fun. It's a fun, and it actually is a really powerful model. But you take Elon's name off of it, I think it would probably get less stigma attached to it.
Okay.
No, and all the
That
crap that
could
it
be
does
it.
with images. Yeah, just if you could turn off the image part, that'd be fun.
Right. Well, that's you can't have one without the other, right? Like it's loose, but then like so it's too loose almost, right?
It's
Like
making loose videos, it's making loose images. Yeah, no, I think I probably would prefer it, be more like Gemini in that regard.
I hear you. Um. Oh well, yeah. I actually do. We've been trying to. We talked about incorporating a sure oak value into each episode, and so I figured
Okay.
this would be a great way to get started. So I want to ask you, one of Sure Oak's mottos is, if you want to go fast, go alone, and if you want to go far, go together. So I think this phrase really resonated with me and like the topics we were going to talk about today, because I wanted to ask you, what do you think about the current AI moment? Like, does it feel like as humanity we're sprinting into it, or are we trying to go far?
Mm, that is such a good question. So, um, well, I think going alone without AI, that is you're not gonna go very far. With AI, we tend to. I think it just comes down to, I mean, the value really is about team and valuing people and valuing their opinions. And I've seen people like you, who have really embraced like, hey, how does AI make my work better? How do I not rely on it? I mean, there's nothing more frustrating than getting a piece of content that's 100% written by AI, right? And we see that a lot in our field. Or seeing
Yeah.
spammy backlinks, even digital PR is spammy. Um, and you run social media. I would love your take on this, but like you cannot tell the difference. What I'm seeing, like I'm seeing these long LinkedIn posts that are mostly written by AI. Um, the approach should be to take like just like you would if you're writing content, is to take a staged approach to it. So do my outline, play a document, take it and write me a good intro. Okay, there's what I would change. So if you're going to write it completely by AI, well, be a very tight editor over and manage the process. Or do your writing and have AI clean it up or give you alternatives. Like to me, that's the best place, the human in the middle. Um, and then like the if you wanna go far, go together, well, bring your good writers on the team. Like, the reason we built Sure Oak, like, we have a no asshole rule around here, right? So, like, we should have good people that want to be a part of the conversation, that want to help. Um, and they say, "Hey, this is very AI. This is very spammy. This feels derivative, or this feels canned." Um, that brand protection, like, what we like in SEO, we worry about greenfield or content that's evergreen that can last. That's the kind of content we're going after. I think if you just want to do a quick hit and get 1,000 impressions that no one ever cares about, which are fine every now and then, sometimes it needs to be said. But you and I, we prefer social that gives evergreen messaging that people can use over and over
Yeah.
again. They're timeless. I mean, Eat has been along how long?
Right. Right. Right.
Experience,
Right.
expertise,
I
authority,
think we've
trustworthiness.
mentioned it, and we've mentioned this before, like I think, and it's going to be a lot more prevalent in 2026 is that there's going to be a premium on human,
Mm.
like doing human ads and writing, going ahead and writing stuff instead of asking ChatGPT or any LLM to write stuff. There's going to be a premium on that, and people are going to notice. Maybe not like super explicitly, but they will implicitly, I think.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I think what AI isn't great at right now is bringing humans together. I think um, people think they can do more by themselves. I think there's this big dream now, like, hey, we'll have our first, single company billionaire. Like, well, who wants to do that alone? Who wants to be a billionaire alone? Who wants to build something alone? Great. I mean, probably lots of people listening to this. I'm sorry. But I don't. I mean, all 35 team members of Sure Oak, I mean, it is fun to build something with them. And what AI is bad at right now is allowing us to collaborate on the AI itself. It's just not there yet. And so we're able to do um, to send my agent over to you and to share agents and to collaborate on documents with different. So your AI buddy who knows you and my AI buddy who knows me, we come together in this kind of like cyborg mentality, working into a much better product. That's not there yet, in my opinion.
I agree. I agree. I think 2026 could be the year when we start merging those, like those concepts and becoming a lot more involved in a healthy way. Let's put it like that with AI, and stop putting out all these derivative regurgitated content, like and
Absolutely.
start being a little bit more authentic because it's going to be necessary. People are, just like you mentioned with the AI videos, like, I can't remember what brand it is that just put out an ad and they got a lot of heat because it was entirely AI generated. And people
Yeah.
were comparing it against the Coca-Colas. Like, why didn't the Coca-Cola one get as much heat? Well, it was because this other commercial was portraying humans. The other Coca-Cola one wasn't. So people were pissed, like people were kind of like, it's like, hey, you didn't pay for actors and these are not real people. So we don't want to see it kind of thing. I
Huh.
thought that was pretty interesting. Yeah.
Well,
And I
what do you
think that,
think about like these completely AI generated or completely AI social influencers? I know a lot of them are actually fairly popular.
it's interesting. I think I would like to see data on them, like actual, like how many people did they actually influence to make a purchase, or
Mhm.
how many people did they influence to go to this restaurant or go to this place,
Yeah.
because ultimately I can see how people would follow, like a hot AI avatar, but I'm not sure if they would take their advice and actually do it.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I don't turn on, Madden 26 and watch the computer play itself, right? Like, I don't I'd much rather watch the Super
Absolutely.
Bowl.
Absolutely. Like that will be the day, when we start watching bots having podcasts, like why?
I don't understand. Yeah, unless the
We
bot
want
is like
I want
yeah,
Nick's
I don't get that one.
opinion.
But you've
I
heard
like
of
Nick.
Velvet
Like,
Sundown, though. Have you heard of Velvet Sundown?
no.
Oh, this is a
What is
good
that?
story. Maybe we wanna put this in the show notes, but, one of the top new bands on Spotify was Velvet Sundown,
Okay.
and they did not release that is completely AI generated music. And so they walked that back a bit, but dude, I mean, okay, we just talked about, yeah, I don't wanna watch Madden, AI versus AI, but Velvet Sundown's really good. It's
Okay.
really good music. And I've even heard, like I mean, even like Joe Rogan says, "Yeah, that's mostly what I listen to now is AI music. I put in the genre I like, the voice I like." He's a big Gary Clark Jr. fan. I don't listen to Rogan every day, but it was
Yeah.
an interesting data point that I think he speaks for a lot of people that are like, well, then this is pretty cool. Like, this is a genre I like. This is the blues. I like a lot of guitar riffs. I like rock. I like these kind of lyrics. Maybe that's a counterpoint, maybe devil's advocate to what we were just talking about.
Absolutely.
You played with some
Absolutely.
of these, haven't you, on the music side?
Yeah, yeah. And I actually saw like a Eminem version, but like in blues, like super like Roadhouse blues. And it was actually like super good. I was like mind blown. I was like, wow. Then later I found out it was AI generated, and I was like, wow, okay. I just liked an AI generated song.
Yeah, it's
Which,
kinda freaky, right?
yeah, it is a little freaky. It is a
Did you
little
feel a little
freaky.
dirty afterwards? I don't know.
I don't know where
Maybe
we're
like
gonna
a
be
fellow
in
humans down? I don't Yeah, it's confusing. I know we started the whole conversation with the one thing, but then, like, well, things like music, yeah, it's like the whole Napster thing over again. I just like, well, we gotta protect artists and people who I mean, AI wouldn't have known how to make that music if Gary Clark Jr. didn't exist, right?
right,
So
right. And ultimately, yeah, and that's music. I guess you could take it to writing and music and imagery too, but it's only regurgitating as well, right? It's
what it
only,
knows.
yeah, but
Yeah.
it does it in an interesting way where you can like it.
All right. So do you think it's good we didn't talk about RAG pipelines and grounding and authoritative content? I mean, I know we scratched at everything, but do you think people got their money's worth here or the free podcast worth of content?
Absolutely,
All right.
absolutely,
All right. Well, we'll call that a wrap and we will try to put one of these out at least every month and keep everyone up to date on what we think's going on. And we'll have guests on as well. So it won't just be me and Roberto pontificating what's going on in the world. But until next time, we'll see you around and hit us up at Shurok if you ever need help.